it's kind of like a bologna sandwich with extra steps. Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking. About 3 or 4 months ago, I got an email in the evening from a gentleman named Forrest Clester. And he sent me $5 on PayPal and he said, how about a Monte Cristo sandwich? Okay, Forrest, here's your Sammy. The Monte Cristo sandwich is, it's like a French toast sandwich. And Disney World or Disneyland is famous for them, but they deep fry theirs. We're not gonna do that because I have left the deep frying life behind, or at least in a dormant state, in an effort to extend my lifespan. So, this is a Sammy. It is a sweet and savory concoction. And we're gonna use white bread today. What kind of white bread? The choice is yours, but I particularly like this like wide bread pan bread, because it is solid enough to work with, so it won't totally fall apart, and it is shaped the size that most lunch meat is cut as well. And we're gonna make a couple of them today, so I'm gonna show you. We're gonna do 2 at once. This is kind of a little bit of assembly line food. Next choice that you can make is you can use butter or you can use mayonnaise. So this is kind of like a la the world of grilled cheese. Today we're gonna use mayonnaise because I think it's easier to spread than butter, but we will be fairly generous with the amount of mayo that we use today. And you can see that I have 2 rows of 3 pieces of bread. That's because this is a double-decker sandwich. When it's 2 stacks, right? A double-decker has 3 slices of bread, I think. I think that's because a triple-decker would be 4 slices of bread. It's not how many pieces of bread you got, it's the number of decks in your Sammy. So another thing you can add, and I will add because I love it, is mustard. You could totally forego this if you don't want it. Let's do one with Dijon. I'm just gonna put it here on the middle bread. And another one with Grandpa's Cheese Barn hot and sharp German mustard. That'll be fun. So far this should just kind of seem like a club sandwich. Cool guy club sandwich. All right, next step will be the cheese. We're gonna use Swiss today, but you can use whatever cheese you like. Swiss is particularly good for this, I'd say. Now, because it's a decker, it's okay to spread out the cheese. And I specifically am referring to the fact that, like, could you do multiple layers of cheese? Yes. It'll take a lot longer to melt that way. And when you have so many layers of things, like, thinner layers are appropriate. So in my assembly line, I'm putting the cheese on one side. I'm also gonna put cheese on the top side. Having the cheese on the outermost layer allows it to melt more quickly for better sandwich cohesion. Now this is absolutely optional, but if you want a depth of cheese flavor, you could add a second kind of cheese, such as Deluxe American Cheese, which is the best melting cheese known to man. Don't at me on that one. So here's my depth of cheese flavor, and then we'll get over to the lunch meat. So we'll have just kind of like a layer of turkey, and then we're gonna do ham, again for a depth of lunch meat flavor. We'll do 2 slices this time. Okay, so with that, we're going to stack up our Sammy, like so. And optional step would be to wrap and press these sandwiches. And why do you do that? Because we're gonna apply a batter to the outside of the sandwich. If you are able to wrap and press the sandwiches, it'll make it able to absorb a more correct amount of the batter. Because if you inundate it, you'll have a very, very soggy sandwich. And if you don't put on enough, then it'll be a boring sandwich. Okay, so those are our sandwiches. Now, using the powers of movie magic, I made 2 more previously and put them in my fridge to press. As you can see, I rigged up this system of 2 sandwiches in a glass thing, and I put a bunch of kombuchas on top. And just to show you how much did those compress compared to the other ones, they're noticeably lower. But yeah, you can make these like well in advance, you know, multiple hours. I could stand up in the fridge. Okay, now we're gonna make our batter, which we're just gonna do kind of French toast style. If you're gonna do a full deep fry, you might consider actually using like pancake mix. But today we're just gonna use eggs and milk. So 2 eggs, and I'm just gonna eyeball the milk. That much. I think typically with French toast it's like 4 eggs to 1 cup of milk. You can do a pinch of salt. And of course, if you wanted to add spices or whatever, you can. I think maybe we'll skip that today. I almost think I might want another egg in there. I think I might have been heavy-handed on the milk pour. Yeah, it looks good. All right, so we're gonna heat up a non-stick skillet, and similar to like, you know, if you're making a bunch of French toast or pancakes or something, the first one might not come out perfectly well. It's usually for calibration. But I'm gonna heat up some ghee in the non-stick. I think that's a particularly tasty way to fry up these kinds of things. And then we just gotta fry these Monte Cristos. All right, so we got our oil heated up, our ghee. Got my pressed Sammy. And if you're like really worried about this, you can wear gloves because it's probably gonna be very messy. But you know, I'm kind of, you know, I just know how it's gonna be, so I'm just gonna deal with it. So I'm submerging the Sammy, and then the other side, so you get like that, a thick soak, whatever, surface, but it's not completely messed up. And then you put it right in, and we're gonna let it fry away. And it is critical that we don't fry it at too high of heat, because you can see this is a pretty thick sandwich. It's gonna take a while for the cheese to melt. So that's kind of the balancing act. We want it to be heated through, we want the cheese to melt without burning the outside. So to do that, you have to do it at relatively low heat. I'm a little bit worried to see if we've got melting action. Okay, I think it's time to flip, and I am kind of like wondering how oh no, we're melty. We're melty. So see, I've got my fish spatula here, and I'm trying to lift up to see if there's melting action, and there definitely is. So no concern there. If you are in a situation like I am right now, which is you're trying to flip something in a pan, and it's terrifying you that it's gonna fall apart, use a double spatula system. Holy f***, that looks good. And anytime I fry something in this way, I like to add a little salt. So we'll let that fry on the other side. You can see we got a nice crust of the batter here. Our cheese is melted. Nope, it's not. But that's okay. I mean, in the absolute worst case, we can kind of steam the sandwich if we need to. We can keep letting it fry as well. Or the residual heat might actually continue to melt the Sammy as well. So I'm wondering if pulling them out of the fridge like a little bit beforehand might help make it easier to melt, or frying at even lower temperature. I don't know. But the nice thing is I'm making like 4 of these, so I'll have some opportunities to experiment. I guess while that's, no, we can just, we'll just hang out. All right, so we fried on both sides. Here's our Sammy. We're gonna transfer it over to our cutting board and get our next Sammy going. The pan. So let's go ahead and plate this one. So kind of the two things that you should know is typically this is served with some kind of preserves or jelly or jam. I think traditionally it's red stuff. Red currant would be the most traditional. We don't have a lot of currant preserves in the US, so raspberry preserves is what we're gonna use today. And also I will note that sometimes these are served with the preserves directly on the sandwich, as in spread onto the sandwich, or even kind of drizzled over it, but we'll just do dipping today. We'll go ahead and cut our Sammy. I'm gonna do the triangle cut. You can see inside we have nice cohesive Sammy. It could be a little more melty. Maybe the next one will be better. Maybe not. But we'll go ahead and plate it up. And it is often topped with powdered sugar, which I just have some here. And we'll just do one of these over the top. And that is our Monte Cristo sandwich today. Okay, I'm gonna try it first with no jam. That's good. That's really good. It was so funny.
And you picked it up and immediately turned it over to dump all the powdered sugar over it.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna add some jam now. Oh yeah. Man, this is killer. I will comment that it just kind of tastes like mayo and butter. It was like the strongest flavors. That's hella good. I feel like that was easy to make too. Like that was no struggle at all. It's very sweet, but it's also clearly like a deli sandwich. I love it. That's really yummy. So there you go, Forest Cluster. I hope you appreciated our simple recipe. I feel like this is going to be one of those things where I make one for Courtney and then I'll never be able to stop making them for her. But anyways, that's how you do it. Hope you enjoyed today. See you next time on PGC. Toodaloo.